Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my April and May wrap up. So I'm combining the 2 months because I didn't do an April wrap up because I forgot to. So this might be a long video, so sit back and relax and enjoy it. But for April, let's start with April. April I read, I believe, 10. April I read 10 books. So let's just get right into them so we can head on to May. The first 3 books I read for a 24-hour readathon. I forgot which one. I forgot which one. But I read them for a 24-hour. The first one being Heartstopper Volume 2 by Alice Oseman. This one is a graphic novel. It is super cute, like the art style. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, I'm using natural lighting. It's kind of getting darker, so I'm gonna have to hurry up and film this. But yeah, this is following Nick and Charlie. So Charlie is openly out, like he's openly gay, but it didn't go about the best of ways of how it came about, but he's now out, and he's friends with Nick, and Nick is just this, you know, typical straight teenage boy. He's playing sports and they create this friendship and they're getting really close, and then Nick is starting to get feelings for Charlie and he's confused because he's all like, I thought I liked girls, whatever. So it's him discovering his sexuality and their relationship coming about, like, you know, coming together, and just like, you know, just their story about them and everything. And it's super cute. I really like it. I just got volume 3. I'm gonna be reading in June, so I can't wait for that because the 4th one's coming out later this year, and I believe there's only one more after that, so sad. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Really recommend it. It's a graphic novel, so it's really short. The other books I read for the 24-hour readathon is Dream Maker by Kristen Ashley. I don't have the book with me right now. It's somewhere around here, but I can't find it. Anyway, this is just like a contemporary romance. I think that's what it said. I mean, that's basically what it was. It was romance, but it had a little bit darker topics to it. But it was just really quick, enjoying read. You know, just a fun read nonetheless. And that's all I wanted. And I really enjoyed it. And then after that one, I read Much Ado About You by Samantha Young. This one I've heard mixed reviews about. So it follows this girl who doesn't really know, like, she's kind of in this rut in her life, and so she finds this ad online where there's this bookstore in England, I believe. Yeah, it's in this quaint English village, and it's a holiday package where you can like rent out the shop and kind of like be like its owner for however long. I think she did it for like a month. I could be wrong. But yeah, it's like a temporary position, and you like run the store basically. And so she goes there to do that, and while she does that, she's enjoying this quaint little village. I really love the aspect with the little village. And she runs into this guy because she saves his dog, which is on the cover, from a car almost running him over. And then like they start becoming friends, there's a romance, and there's just like more to it. I didn't like annotate it, but as you can see, there are some like 3 tabs at its screen, which is mostly quotes or sayings that I really resonated with or really enjoyed. I don't know if I should quote any of them. Some of them are kind of long and I didn't really mark them. I should go back and mark them. But yeah, so I enjoyed it a lot. I've heard some other reviews of people saying that they didn't really enjoy it, but you know, everyone has their own opinion, and that's fine, and I just enjoyed it. Then those are the 3 books I read for the 24-hour readathon, and next are just the other books I read. The next 3 kind of are similar, I guess, genre in a sense, and that being, the first one is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. This one is like a cozy mystery. I got it for book of the month. It was my pick for April, and I really loved it. I love cozy mysteries. I love mysteries, murder mysteries, all that, but cozy mysteries are one of my favorites. But I'm also kind of picky, but I really love this one. This one is so good. So the main character comes back to her hometown to help out her aunt run the family restaurant, and while there she runs into her old high school boyfriend, and he's changed, he's different, and he's like a food critic now, but he's like attacking her aunt's restaurant, like going after them, trying to like write bad reviews, trying, you know, just like attacking them basically. And so they don't like each other anymore. They always bicker and everything. And one day he comes in with his stepfather to eat there, and of course they're bickering and everything. And then all of a sudden, as they're like bickering and stuff, he drops dead. Like, just I don't know, he drops dead. And so of course she is the main suspect because they were bickering, they were fighting. She's the one that served the food, and I think maybe he made some of it, and he just drops dead. So she goes on a mission to try to figure out who really did it, to clear her name and find the murderer. But it was really good. It's really short. I liked it. And there's also I believe there's gonna be a series, which I'm so happy for. And there's like a kind of like a there's kind of like a love triangle going on situation happening, and I like both of them, so I honestly don't know which side I'm gonna be on. So I can't wait to see where this goes next. So, and then along the lines of that, I read Pride and Premeditation. I thought I said Prejudice. It's a Pride and Prejudice retelling. It's a Jane Austen murder mystery book, but it's called Pride and Premeditation by Tears of Price. It's also a YA book club pick for Barnes and Nobles. This one was really good. I really enjoyed it. Again, I love a murder mystery whodunit book. Like, those are like my absolute favorites. This one is so good because of course I love the story Pride and Prejudice, so I know it, but it doesn't follow it like to the T, like, you know, it doesn't, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, I want more from like this one, like the Pride and Prejudice aspect, because like it's a series, but each book is going to follow a different Jane Austen novel. So I think the next one is Sense and Sensibility. I don't know the title for it yet, but I think it's for that one. But I really love the Pride and Prejudice one. So I wish, because it kind of left it open-ended, which I really liked. So I wish like we can get more in this setting, in the Pride and Prejudice setting, because like how it ended, it was so open-ended and kind of like where it can continue with these same characters, and I just wish we can get that. But I'm still going to read the Sense and Sensibility, which I don't think I haven't read that classic. I've only read the Pride and Prejudice and Emma, so I should probably read Sense and Sensibility before that one. If not, that's fine. But I really like this one a lot. Like, the last one and this one really got me in the mood for these murder mysteries, and so like that's why the next one also too is kind of along the line. And that one is The Sinister Mystery of the Mesmerizing Girl by Theodora Goss. This one is the third to The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, which I absolutely love. I've been hearing so many good things about this series, and it lived up to everything I expected and more. Like, I've talked about this series so many times, and I never do it justice because it has so much going for it. It's so complex. It has so many layers. The writing is so unique, and just the whole story itself is also unique, honestly. Like, it takes like classic literature characters and kind of rewrite it, and like in this world, and this found family, and it's just so good. I highly recommend it. Okay, now we're going into other kind of like romances or stuff like that. So let's get into those. The first up is Fight for Her by Liz Plum. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. This one is a Wattpad book, and I did read this when it was published on Wattpad years ago, but I haven't read it in so long, and I completely kind of forgot some of the storyline. So I picked it up because I do that to a lot of the books I read on Wattpad, and I read it. It's really fast-paced read, and I did forget a lot of the stuff that happened. Either that or they changed stuff, but I didn't mind. I really enjoyed it and really liked it. It was just a really fast-paced read. Like, pretty big writing, like the little illustrations and everything, and I really enjoyed it. The next is Forever Wild by K.A. Tucker. This is the novella for The Simple Wild, and the second book, which I forgot the name. As you can see, it's really short, and I just loved it because we're following a continuation of the story of Kala and Jonah, which I enjoy their story so much. I don't want it to be over, but I think this is the last that we're gonna have for their story. It is really short because it's a novella, so what do you expect? I just wish it was just a little bit longer, because I felt from like the beginning to the middle, it was really like flushed out and really like, you know, like a lot of stuff happened, a lot of detail and everything. But then we got to the end, it was really rushed. It was like, okay, all that happened. Like, okay, this is now over. I'm like, because of what happened at the end, I wish we would have been able to see a little more detail into that. Because I really wanted to see that. Like, yeah, it was just told, it was like, okay, this happened. I was like, and then over. But I'm like, but I wanted to see that actually happen, like have the details and everything. Now it's getting really bright. I'm sorry about that. So I did really enjoy it though, being back with these characters in this world in Alaska. Love it. I just wish it was just not like a lot. It just needed to be like maybe just like a little bit longer. I don't know, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm sad that it's over. That this story with Colin and Jonah is over. So the next book I have was kind of a letdown, and that is Real Men Knit by Kwana Jackson. This sounded so good, and I had really high hopes for it because I'm not that picky when it comes to, I guess, romances. Like, I just kind of want it, like, enjoying, like, I want to enjoy it, I want to have fun with it, like, I don't know, I'm just not that picky because I'm not a big romance reader. But this was a letdown. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess from what I was expecting and then what I got, I didn't really like. And then just certain aspects of it I just didn't vibe with. I didn't like. I wish they had done it a little bit differently or stuff like that. So I don't know, but I gave this, I think, maybe like a 3-star or like a 2.5. I don't know. It was because I was, after the halfway mark, I started listening to the audiobook and I just wasn't really memorable. I don't even remember a lot of stuff that happened. And last but not least, the book I read was Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Oh my gosh, this book is everything. I've heard so many people talking about it, raving about it, and it is all that. Like, it's so good. It's basically letters told from Dracula's bride, Constanta, and it's also too such a good book about toxicity, toxic relationships, all that. Like, so good. So you see kind of how Dracula rescues Constanta, their relationship starting from that, and then like how they get Magdalena and Alexei, and then this whole relationship between all of them, and then how Dracula starts becoming this toxic person towards them and changing, and just like it, and then Constanta becoming into this role like a mother figure in a way, trying to stand up for Magdalena and Alexei against Dracula, and then comes to this point where it's just, she can't take anymore. It just becomes too much. And so it's just, it's so lyrical. My camera's battery is flashing, so hopefully I can read you this excerpt before it goes out. Hold on, it's like at the very beginning. Okay, it's like right here. Okay, I'll just read you this little bit. It says, "This is my last love letter to you, though some would call it a confession. I suppose both are sort of gentle violence, putting down in ink what scorches the air when spoken aloud. If you can still hear me wherever you are, my love, my tormentor, hear this. It was never my intention to murder you. Not in the beginning, anyway." And that's like one of the very first pages. It's so good. It's so lyrical. It's so poignant. Like, it's just so good. And just the whole like aspects of this relationship building over time, the, you know, the imperfections, everything, the toxicity in it that builds up over time, Constanta herself, oh my gosh, I love it so much. And I mean, it wasn't a type of book I normally read because it had no plot really. It was more character driven because it was just their story about how like their whole relationship started, where they went, what happened with like everything, and the downfall, like the start and then the downfall. Like, it was just so good. Anyway, my camera battery is flashing. That is all the books I read in April. I'm gonna probably go charge my battery so that way I can do a maze wrap up next. So I'll go do that real quick and then I'll be right back. Okay, my battery is charged and I'm back to do the May wrap up. So in the month of May, I read 12 books, which is a lot. Lately my goal has been 10 books a month because I've been seeming to be able to do that, and so I've been trying to do 10, but this month I did 2 extra, which I'm surprised because it's May is my birthday month, and I was actually kind of like busy. I was doing things with friends, with family and everything, but I still ended up doing 12 books a month, so that's amazing. And let's get right into the books I read in May. Starting off May, I read A Curious Beginning by Deanna Rayburn. This one, I haven't heard too many things about it. There's one YouTuber I watch, Riley Marie. She has recommended this series. And it sounds like something that's right up my alley. It's like a historical fiction, murder mystery kind of thing. And it just seems really interesting. And like there's a really, really slow burn romance. Like you can kind of see the chemistry and everything between them, but it's super slow burn. Nothing even happens in this one. There's like a little flirting and everything, but nothing happens in this one. I'm currently reading the second one, and I'm like halfway through that and still nothing. Like you can still feel the tension and the chemistry, but really nothing has even happened yet. So it's really slow burn. So, but I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I like the banter. I like, you know, just like the characters and everything in here. I really enjoyed it. The next book, I don't own the copy of it, but I have the first book in the series, but I read the second book. And this one, so it's the second book from Blood and Ash, which is Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I read that one, but this is the first book, and I just wanted to hold it up as like a placeholder. It's freaking huge, so just imagine Kingdom of Flesh and Fire is huge. It's so heavy. I can use this as like a weapon. I love this series so much. It's like everyone's saying, like everyone's loving it. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's still really good. It's a fantasy romance with lots of smut, but it's just so good. And I actually do really like the fantasy aspects that we do get in here, because I'm not big into fantasy, so this is like really good because it. Some people have said that when they're reading it, they were a little confused. In the first one, yeah, I wasn't, but I also kind of was, because it doesn't write out like explain everything, because it can't, because like that's like the whole point of the book. Like when you continue with it, you'll see, like especially at the end of this one, you'll see like why, but it later on it does explain more. There's still some parts where I was kind of confused, but then like I was explained, or like I figured it out or something, but that didn't deter me from this series or this book. Like I love this series so much. I'm still like so intrigued with it. I'm on the third one right now. I'm just about to finish it, and I love like the plot, like the political aspects of it, all these like intense like action-packed scenes, but then also to the romance and the smut in here. It is so good. I can't wait for the fourth one, which I think is coming out in the beginning of next year. I was confused because I saw a book that looked like it could have been the fourth one coming out later this year, and I was like, ooh, that's the fourth one, but it's actually not. It's set in the same world, but it's following one of the gods that is talked about in this series. I don't want to say, just in case it's a spoiler. I don't know if it is. I doubt it is, because it's talked about in this one like right off the bat. But it just follows one of the gods that kind of like first created everything, and how all this whole world kind of started, and it follows him and kind of how, I guess, all that's like a prequel in a way. So that one's actually coming out later this year, and that's like a first in a new series that's set in this world, like a prequel in a way. I hope I'm not sounding too confusing, but yeah, I read the second one. I can put the picture up right here, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and I'm currently on the third one. So good. And after that, I read Desperate Measures by Katie Robert, and this was also a very smutty book. Like, oh my gosh, so much smut, like way more than anything I've ever read. Like, I think it's actually classified as erotica romance. Could be wrong, but like, I'm growing up, I'm trying to branch out, and I've heard so many good things about this. This series kind of like takes Disney villains and all that and kind of twists it. So this first one is a Jafar and Jasmine retelling, like kind of like their romance, but it's so much smut. Like, oh my gosh. I don't think I was I mean, I guess I was, but at the same time I wasn't. Like, it was just like a lot, but I still really enjoyed it. It still had like kind of a plot to it too, and so I kind of like that. I'm thinking about continuing with the series. I don't know, this is just new to me, like really new. I'm not used to it, but I might continue. We'll see. I'm trying to branch out. So I wanted to start. I have read a few, but we're not like okay. So I wanted to branch out, and so I started reading manga. And this one, Spy X Family, I picked up because it sounded really good. And I mean, this cover is also really pretty. I like it, and it was really good. It follows this main character who is a spy, obviously, and his mission is he needs to get close to the subject or whatever. But by doing that, he needs to find a wife and get a kid, like have a wife and a kid, so that way they can infiltrate this school that the subject that he's supposed to get close to kind of shows a lot more of himself to it because his son goes there apparently, and so it's like his opening. That's how he'll get close to him or whatever, and so he needs to do that. So this first one, of course, is just so cute, him finding a kid and a wife, and just like, and sorry, I almost forgot this, of course him who's about to be the father, he's a spy, but the girl who he gets to be the wife and mother is an assassin. And the little girl he gets to be his daughter is a telepath. And I'm not spoiling this because it's literally on the back. It shows spy, assassin, telepath. So, but yeah, it's just really cute. It's really good. I want to continue with it because it just seems like it's really funny. And I just love it. So, I'm trying to continue this. But I can't find, I think, the second and third anywhere in stores. So I might have to order it online. But I will eventually. And I'll get around to reading them. The new show that came out on Netflix, Shadow and Bone, I watched it, fell in love with it. I made my mom watch it. She fell in love with it, and we have been rewatching it over and over because it's just so good. And I was in a place where it helped me get through it. I think that's also why I have a special like love for it, because I was going through some stuff and I watched that, and it just really helped me take my mind out of things and really help me get through things, and just like it's really good. And I guess that's why right now I'm in the mood for fantasy, because it's like leaving this world I'm in, because like, you know, sometimes it's rough, but like being transported into a new world, and just like that's why I love books too. It's all like that, but especially fantasy. And so lately I've been into fantasy, and for that I read Shadow and Bone, which is the book series that the TV show is based off of, and I wanted to read this so I can continue reading the other ones, so I can kind of know where it goes and where it might go with the show. Anyway, so I read this. When I wanted to read this before the show came out, but I've heard a lot of bad reviews about it, saying that it just wasn't good. After I watched the show and fell in love with it, I decided to read it, and I guess this one wasn't the best just because I watched the show and I already kind of knew the story, so it's just like rereading it, and it was just kind of like, okay, whatever. But I still enjoyed it because I love being back in this world with these characters, and I still enjoyed it. I gave it a 3 star. It's still like a solid read. I really liked it, and I loved like this world, and you saw some stuff in here that wasn't in the book, and I really enjoyed that. And along with that, since I was reading that, so that way I can continue with the series before the show, you know, next seasons come out, so I can kind of know what happens and see if they will follow that or change it up or what. After I read Shadow and Bone, the book, I read the second and third books, which is Siege and Storm and Rune and Rising. And I really, really like this series. Like, it's actually, like, I'm not gonna say really good to like the best thing ever, amazing, but for what it is, written when it was, it's actually a really good book series. I really enjoyed it. Like, it was a solid book. Like, it's a YA fantasy written back in like, what, like 2012, around there, in that time period. Like, it's just really good. I enjoyed it. A lot of stuff did kind of surprise me. I think I was actually spoiled for a lot of stuff, but I think I forgot some of the stuff I was spoiled with. So then reading it, I'm just like, what? And I was like, wait a minute, I do remember that now. But it was still really good. I still really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the show. And I want to see how they're going to take this, if they're going to kind of do a similar, if they're going to change stuff, how they're going to go about it, and everything. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I like this series a lot. And yeah, I got all three. I like these editions. I know everyone's like saying like they don't like the Netflix thing that's not even a real sticker, so you can't even take it off, which is kind of annoying. But honestly, I don't really care. Like, it's still, the covers are still really pretty. And again, I read another manga because I want to get more into manga, so I bought a few. And this one I've heard good things about, so I want to pick it up. It's Tokyo Ghoul Volume 1, and I really enjoyed it. This one follows a main character who's a human, and in this world, humans live among ghouls. And of course, with that comes issues because ghouls eat humans. And of course, they have these issues because they always find dead bodies because of ghouls eating them, attacking them, all that. And then this boy, he has a crush on this girl who happens to be a ghoul, but he doesn't know that. And they end up going on a date and everything's going fine. They're walking home and she attacks him because she's a ghoul and she wants to eat him. She attacks him and he somehow finds a way to stop her and ends up killing her in the process to protect himself, and he is actually badly injured. And so when someone comes across them, they of course call for help, and he needs surgery, but he also, I forgot what it was. I don't know if it's like a kidney or something or some kind of thing. He needs a transplant. And so they take the body part from the girl who's a ghoul, but they don't know that. And since she's dead, they're like, well, let's just use her organs and put it in this boy to save him since he's still actually alive. And then they do that. And I guess because it's a ghoul body part, but they didn't know that, kind of turns him half into a ghoul. So he's half human, half ghoul. And we're following his story, him coming to like kind of acknowledge that and figure it out and everything, and it's just really good. I just got the second volume, so I'm gonna be reading that this month. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. The next book I read was an ebook, and that is Punch, Pastries, and Poison by Harper Lynn. This is, I believe, the 10th book in Kate Bay mystery. It's also another cozy mystery, and I've been reading the series. I've been really liking it, and it has like food and coffee mixed in and like a little romance, and it's just really good. And this one, it's two main characters, like, okay, so it's a main character and her boyfriend's birthday are like around the same day, and so they decided to like just have like a one whole party for both of them and invite, you know, pretty much everyone they know, which is like the whole town. And then everyone at that party gets sick. Like, they're thinking it's like food poisoning or something, like, you know, just sick from like the food or something. And she's the one that made it because she's like the baker, the chef, all that. But then the cops come in to test it, and they see that it's not food poisoning, it's actual poison. Like, someone literally did something and poisoned it so that way everyone can get sick. And I guess it wasn't enough for everyone to die, if that's what they were going for or anything. And then I think later on one person does end up dying because, like, I guess whoever did that in the first place is still out to get the main character. And so one day when they open the shop again, one of the employees finds like this box of chocolates or whatever that has the main character's name on it, but the main character's like wasn't gonna eat it right away. She was gonna be like, that's suspicious, that's weird, what the heck, like wants to figure out who did it first. And she was like, can you go put it in my office? But the employee starts eating the chocolates and then ends up dead. So it's really interesting. That was sad because she had just hired her. She was pretty young and everything. But yeah, so now she's trying to figure out who's after her, who's doing this, and all that. And it's just a cozy mystery, and it's really short. So everything happens kind of quick, but it's so good. I totally recommend the series. I just love cozy mysteries because they're nice and cozy. So after that, I read an audiobook, so I don't own the book, and that is Finley Donovan is Killing It. I've heard so many good things about this, especially from Olivia Reads a Latte. I love her channel so much. She was reading it and she loved it, and so I picked it up and loved it. It's so different. I love it. It's I don't even know how to explain it, but the main character is mistaken for an assassin or a hit woman, basically. And then the woman that like mistakes her for that hands her a note saying to kill her husband for this amount of money, blah blah, and it just goes from there. It's really good. I really liked it, and I think there's a second book coming out soon, either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. and I can't wait for it. Like, yes, please give me more. And especially the way it ended, I need the second book like now. But yeah, I loved it so much. And I think that was the 10 books I read in May, and that was my goal. But then I decided to pick up another book because it was still like, May wasn't over yet, but it was close. It was at the end of the month. I decided to pick up this book thinking that I'm just gonna start it and then finish it in June, whatever. But it was such a good read that I flew through it and finished it. And that is Blade of Secrets by Trisha Levenseller. I had just gotten this because I've been wanting to read it. It sounded so good. So I just decided to pick it up just to kind of like start it for June, and then I'll finish it in June. But I couldn't put it down. I literally read it in like a day, and it was just so good. It's really short. That's also probably why. But I really loved it, and the main character is a bladesmith. And she's also has magic powers to where she can imbue the weapons that she makes with magic, basically. And everyone, she's like a sought out bladesmith. Everyone wants her to commission a blade or like, you know, a weapon for them. And then this, what's it called? And this very powerful warlord comes in wanting to commission a weapon. And so she doesn't think anything of it. They met at a party. She seemed pretty cool. She's liking her and everything. She's her, like, you know. And so she doesn't think anything of it. The warlord's saying, like, I want this weapon to be the best weapon you ever did. Like, all the other weapons you made were, like, preparing you for this one weapon. I want it to be powerful, your best. And if you can prove to me that you can do that, then I'll give you this job and take you to where I live so you can be my bladesmith and stuff like that. So, you know, she does it, she makes it, she shows it to the warlord, and the sword just happens to be a blade of secrets, to where if you, whoever you strike with it or whoever's blood is on it, you can hear that person's secrets. So when she's showing it to the warlord, she happens to nick her finger with it and then hand it back to the main character. I think her name is Ziva. Yeah, Ziva, our main character. And basically she heard all the warlord's secrets and heard that the warlord wants to use this weapon to enslave everyone under her control, take back this world for under her control and save it. And so Ziva is like, no, we can't let that happen and everything. So she takes the sword, her sister, and goes on the run along with a mercenary and a scholar, a guy with a scholar and a mercenary to help keep them safe traveling. And it's just so much more to it. It's so good, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's gonna be, actually I think it's gonna be, yeah, it's actually gonna be a series. I totally forgot what happened at the end for a second, but I was like, wait a minute, it has to be because of what happened at the end. So I can't wait to continue with this because it's so good. And the main character is dealing with anxiety, and I just related so much, like social anxiety. It was so good reading that. Like, you don't see that a lot, especially in fantasies or stuff, but it was so good. And then last but not least, I read Demon Slayer Volume 1 because it's been popular lately because of the movie, and I'm hoping to see the movie soon. I'm not gonna read all the series before the movie, but like I want to try to. I'm gonna watch something, probably get caught up with it, kind of know what I need to know before going into the movie. But I did read the first one because it was free. I got it free, and it was just really good. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see the movie and continue with the series. So that is all I have for my April and May wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked this video. If you have read any of these or want to read any of these, please comment them down below. But yeah, thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.